Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary frontman for Black Sabbath and a reality TV star, has died.
He's just, you can't dislike him.
It's a shock for us. I mean, when I heard yesterday, it couldn't sink in. I thought, it can't be.
I met Ozzy when I was around 18. Our wedding day was very unusual. You got absolutely shit. Just really broken in every sense.
When Ozzy Osbourne died on July 22nd, 2025, the world stopped for a moment. The Prince of Darkness, the voice of Black Sabbath, the wild man of heavy metal, was gone at 76. Fans cried in stadiums and living rooms across continents, united in grief. Music journalists rushed to capture his legacy in words, while fellow rockers posted tributes about the madness.
Laid up for like 6 years, and it's so, you've got no idea how I feel.
The laughter, the history they had shared. But for one person, the loss was not about an icon, it was about a husband, a partner, a soulmate she had fought for, fought with, and cared for across more than 4 decades. For Sharon Osbourne, the loss was not just monumental, it was devastating. Sharon and Ozzy's love story was never neat, never simple. It was wild, explosive, chaotic.
It was a real battle. I would never have bitten into it.
Much like Ozzy himself. She had been his manager, his caretaker, his shield from the industry, his most loyal defender. Their lives had been broadcast on MTV, dissected in tabloids, debated in interviews. Yet behind the noise, there was always a bond that seemed unbreakable.
Sharon come round to my hotel and said that they'd got rid of Black Sabbath and they wanted to keep me on, and I was like flabbergasted. And then I fell in love.
On that July morning, the bond was tested in the cruelest way possible. Ozzy was gone. 8 days later, on July 30th, 2025, Sharon stood in Birmingham, England, the city where Ozzy's story began. Thousands lined the streets for the public procession. Fans held banners with Black Sabbath logos, photos of Ozzy, and simple words, "Thank you, Ozzy." They threw flowers as the coffin passed, many in tears. Sharon, supported by her children Jack, Kelly, and Amy, walked slowly behind the hearse. Cameras caught her wiping her eyes, breaking down as the chants of "Ozzy, Ozzy" filled the air.
Ozzy forever! Sharon, we love you!
The procession ended at the Black Sabbath Bridge, a symbolic site where Ozzy had been honored years earlier. Sharon bent to lay flowers, her hand trembling. In that moment, it was not the sharp, confident Sharon the world knew from The X Factor or The Talk. It was a grieving widow saying goodbye to the love of her life. Later that day, a private burial was held in Buckinghamshire, where Ozzy was laid to rest. The service was intimate, attended by close family and friends.
As soon as he opened his mouth and started singing, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, we all wept.
There wasn't a dry eye. I mean, I get goosebumps.
Sharon was said to have sat silently for much of it, clutching a rosary, whispering prayers. For the woman who had always kept the machine of Ozzy's career turning, who had always been in command, this was one of the few times she could not control what was happening.
I think that people got the sense of him that he's very genuine when he says, "I love you."
Yeah.
He does.
For weeks after the funeral, Sharon said almost nothing publicly. Jack, Kelly, and Amy each posted tributes. Fellow rockers from Metallica to Judas Priest honored Ozzy. But Sharon, the voice of the Osbourne family, the woman who had never hesitated to speak her mind, was silent. Fans noticed. They worried. Had the grief silenced even her? The truth was simple. Sharon was shattered. She had spent the last years nursing Ozzy through Parkinson's, through spinal surgeries, through infections, through countless hospital visits. She thought she would still be nursing him for years.
What do you want to do this New Year's?
Whatever you want to do.
You're
the leader of our gang. You tell me and I'll do it.
I'll go wherever you want to go. I don't go.
Now she's sad. She is lonely. She's a widow. Her dilemma became clear. Ozzy's grave was in the UK, close enough for her to visit, to feel near him. But her children and grandchildren lived in America. If she stayed in Britain, she would be alone, clinging to memory. If she returned to Los Angeles, she would be surrounded by family, but would feel as though she had abandoned Ozzy in the ground. She can't cut herself in half and be in both places, the source added. But she is so devoted to Ozzy. This was the reality. Sharon was trapped between the living and the dead, torn between presence and memory. Breaking her silence. On September 12th, 2025, nearly 2 months after Ozzy's passing, Sharon finally spoke publicly. She chose Instagram, the same platform where fans had been flooding her with messages of love. She posted a video from Cornwall Falconry, where she and her daughter Kelly had spent an afternoon. The video showed Sharon with owls and falcons perched on her arm. She was calm, her movements deliberate, her face softened by quiet concentration. But it was her caption that broke hearts. "I'm still having trouble finding the words to express how grateful I am for the overwhelming love and support you've shown on social media. Your comments, posts, and tributes have brought me more comfort than you know. None of it has gone unnoticed. In fact, it's carried me through many nights." Those words, "carried me through many nights," spoke volumes. Sharon admitted that it was the messages of strangers, the love of fans, that kept her going in the darkest hours. For the first time, the Iron Matriarch of the Osbourne family revealed vulnerability that fans had never fully seen. She continued, "Though I'm still finding my footing, I wanted to share some glorious creatures I had the chance to spend an afternoon with."
We have, however long, we're on the last chapter here of this book, and it's like we don't want to miss any more.
The connection you make with these powerful birds is built entirely on trust and confidence. They'll choose to perch on you only if they sense you are safe and unafraid of them. It's a bond one know all too well, and the experience was nothing short of magical. And then came the line that would echo across headlines. "I love you all, and I thank you deeply for the otherworldly amount of love you continue to send my way." The message was not just gratitude. It was confession. It was Sharon telling the world, "I cannot do this alone. I need you." The choice of falconry was not random. Sharon herself explained the symbolism. Birds of prey will not land on your arm unless they sense you are calm, safe, and trustworthy. In her grief, Sharon understood that trust, confidence, and safety had been her foundation with Ozzy. For decades, she had been the steady perch for a man who was chaos embodied. Ozzy, the bat-biter, the wild rocker, the unpredictable showman, had always trusted Sharon. He leaned on her when the world turned away. And now, as she stood with falcons choosing her as their perch, Sharon reminded the world that she knew what it meant to be trusted, even in chaos. Fans understood the message immediately. Sharon was grieving, but she was also symbolically showing that trust, connection, and bonds survive even in loss. Sharon's post received hundreds of thousands of responses within hours. Fans told her she was not alone, that Ozzy's legacy was eternal, that she would always be loved. Many admitted they were still crying daily, still listening to Black Sabbath records, still watching the Osbournes to feel close to him. Musicians also responded. Gavin Rossdale sent blessings. DJs on BBC and SiriusXM dedicated tributes. Sharon acknowledged them simply, replying, "Bless you." 2 words, but enough to show she was reading, absorbing, and feeling every gesture of love. Her silence had been broken. The widow of Ozzy Osbourne was speaking again, carefully, quietly, but powerfully.
Just as we were leaving, Jamie told us that Ozzy died.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as we were leaving. Speaking of which, speaking of the guy who... He burned the candles at both ends, lad.
Dude, he just
performed. Yeah.
It always happens like this. It's like he did... there cannot not be a correlation between hanging up the job and death. He did the final Black Sabbath show. This is it. All 4 original guys.
Uh-huh.
He died 2 weeks later?
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking insane, man. That's insane. Weren't they supposed to do one more show? It was like one last Ozfest?
I don't know. I think people just decide it's enough. And that he was struggling for a long time. So if you get a debilitating disease like Parkinson's, and it just slowly robs you of your ability to move and your wit and everything, just slowly takes it all away from you.
When Ozzy Osbourne took his final bow in Birmingham just 17 days before his death, Sharon was by his side. She had been with him in the dressing room before the show, adjusting his jacket, whispering encouragement, making sure he had everything he needed. She had been with him when he came off stage, drenched in sweat, his face lit with a rare peace. And she was with him when he muttered the words that have since haunted her every night. "I had no idea so many people liked me." For the man who had sold out arenas, who had inspired generations of musicians, who had created some of the heaviest riffs in rock history, it was almost childlike. And that innocence made it tragic. After a lifetime of doubt, addiction, and chaos, Ozzy finally saw what Sharon had always seen, that the world loved him. But after the music faded and the world moved on to tributes, Sharon was left with an agonizing choice. Ozzy was buried in Buckinghamshire, near their UK estate. His grave is not just a headstone. It has become a shrine. Fans leave flowers, letters, candles, even small bottles of Jack Daniels as offerings. Sharon has been seen there quietly, sometimes alone, sometimes with a bodyguard at a distance. She whispers to him. She cries. She sits for hours. But across the ocean, in Los Angeles, live her children and grandchildren. Jack's kids are growing fast. Kelly, too, is raising her own child. Sharon has always been fiercely maternal, deeply connected to family. And yet, if she chooses to return to the U.S., she will be half a world away from the man she has loved since 1979. A family friend put it simply in the mirror. She faces living a life without the children, but it's so upsetting to leave Ozzy cold in the ground. She can't cut herself in half and be in both places. This is not just geography. It is identity. If Sharon stays in Britain, she remains the grieving widow, forever tied to the past. If she moves back to Los Angeles, she is forced to rebuild, to face the future. And perhaps, in her heart, she isn't ready. Those close to Sharon say the house in Buckinghamshire is filled with Ozzy's presence. His clothes hang untouched in the closet. His favorite chair remains in the sitting room.
Stained in a quad. Oh, remember that quad bike crash? He got really fucked up.
I don't remember that. What happened?
He crashed one of those off-road bikes and almost died. I think he got pinned underneath it. It was bad. It was real bad. I remember reading about it, thinking, I think he was in the hospital for quite a while. So this new thing was, he fell, and he aggravated whatever he injured back then. Yeah.
Oh, a quad bike. So it's like an ATV or whatever.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of dangerous. You know, they're heavy and they're fast and people fall off of them.
And he was in 2003. He was still able to do something like that. Wasn't 2003? Wasn't he? Wasn't that the period of the Osbournes where he was all shaky and like shuffling around?
That might
have
been why he crashed, right? He might have thought he could do it and couldn't hold on to the steering wheel or the handlebars correctly.
Jesus Christ.
His gold records line the walls. Even his slippers remain by the bed. Sharon cannot bring herself to move them. The silence of the house is crushing. For years, she lived with the sound of his laughter, his mutterings, his music blasting from every corner. Now there is nothing but stillness. Sometimes, Sharon leaves the television on just to fill the void. Other times, she puts on old Sabbath records, not because she needs the music, but because she needs to hear him. Friends who visit say Sharon alternates between moments of fierce composure and sudden collapse. 1 minute, she is discussing estate matters with a lawyer, making decisions about Ozzy's business affairs. The next, she is weeping at the sight of his handwriting in an old letter. Sharon has spoken about Ozzy's demeanor in his final weeks. Despite the toll of Parkinson's, despite decades of wear and tear, he was surprisingly joyful. At the final concert in Birmingham, his face lit up in a way Sharon said she had never seen before. He was smiling, laughing, even joking backstage. Afterward, when they returned home, he settled into his chair and sighed deeply. He looked at Sharon and said, "It's done. I've done it all." She kissed his hand, not realizing how final those words were. When he passed just over 2 weeks later, Sharon was devastated, but not entirely surprised. As one friend explained, Ozzy had seemed to know. Maybe his body told him it was time. Maybe his soul was ready. But after that concert, he was at peace. Through all of this, Sharon's children have been her lifeline. Jack, her only son, has been especially protective. He checks on her daily, arranges family dinners, brings his children to see her. Kelly, too, has been constant, helping her mother with small outings, ensuring she doesn't isolate too much. Even Amy, the most private of the Osbourne children, has stepped forward quietly, offering her presence when Sharon needs it most. The grandchildren, innocent and unaware of the depth of loss, have brought light to Sharon's darkest days.
You know, because if you're on one of those things, it's fucking bouncing off. You could easily, go to, if your hands aren't working good, you can't hold on to the bars anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's a big one, man. You lose some of these people that you just think they'll always be there. It's like, and Ozzy's one of them. I remember when Michael Jackson died, Attell said to me, he goes, it's kind of weird. It's like somebody telling you there's no more vanilla. Like it's just this part of
your life.
There are people that are just this, they're there, you know?
Yeah.
Neil Peart dying fucked me up like that. I was like, wait, there's no more Rush?
Right.
Wait, what?
Right.
Bowie, Prince, you know? You're like...
Prince was a hard one.
Yeah.
One family friend recalled how Sharon smiled for the first time in weeks when Jack's children climbed onto her lap and asked her to tell Grandpa Ozzy stories. She laughed through tears as she recounted tales of his wild antics, his love for dogs, his habit of sneaking sweets when he thought no one was looking. For Sharon, the grandchildren are not just comfort. They are a reason to keep going. Tributes to Ozzy have poured in from every corner of the music world. Metallica, Judas Priest, Guns N' Roses all paid their respects. Younger bands, too, credited him as their inspiration. Tributes on radio stations, social media, television specials all echoed the same sentiment. Ozzy was irreplaceable. Sharon has acknowledged many of these tributes. She replied to some with simple words, "Bless you. Thank you." To BBC Radio 1 DJ Jack Saunders, she wrote, "Jack, thank you for your tribute to Ozzy tonight, bless you." These brief responses reveal both her gratitude and her fragility. For the woman who built her reputation on sharp wit and blunt honesty, the simplicity of her words now is striking. It is as if she cannot yet summon the strength for long speeches, but she still wants the world to know she is listening. Sharon is also facing the bittersweet reality of seeing Ozzy's story retold in documentaries. 2 projects, both in the works before his passing, will now serve as memorials. The first, Ozzy Osbourne, Coming Home, will air on BBC One on October 2nd, 2025. It promises an intimate look at Ozzy's later years, with candid interviews from Sharon and the children. Originally set to release earlier, it was delayed at Sharon's request to give the family time to grieve. The second, Ozzy, No Escape From Now, will premiere on Paramount Plus on October 7th, 2025. This one covers the final years in more detail, his health struggles, his accident in 2019, and the build-up to his final concert. Sharon will appear in it as well, reflecting on the highs and lows of their final chapter together. For Sharon, these projects are both painful and necessary. Painful because they force her to relive the loss. Necessary because they preserve his legacy, something she has dedicated her life to protecting.
Sharon is like my soulmate. Sometimes I love her, sometimes I don't love her, sometimes I'm angry with her. Sometimes I'm crazy about her. Sometimes I want to fucking kill her. Through it all, at the end of the day, I love her more than anything in the world.
What makes Sharon's grief so profound is that it is layered. She has lost a husband. She has lost her partner in business. She has lost her constant companion of 43 years. And with that loss comes a new reality, navigating a world without him. Those close to Sharon say she struggles most at night. The bed feels too big, the silence too heavy. She has admitted privately that she still speaks to Ozzy out loud, as though he can hear her. She asks for his advice. She tells him about her day. Sometimes she even yells at him for leaving too soon. But there are also moments of quiet strength. Sharon continues to wear her wedding ring. She attends meetings regarding Ozzy's estate with determination. She has told friends she will ensure his music, his image, his memory live on for generations.
Sitting in the basement apartment I rented with you.
In this, she is not just a grieving widow. She is the same Sharon who once rebuilt his career from the ashes. Only now, she is building a legacy rather than a business.
Henry, you knew Ozzy Osbourne for decades, both as a fan and as a friend, and we are so sorry for your loss tonight. What will you remember most about it?
I will remember his honesty and the fact that I'm a kind of a pal of his and also a friend of his. And the man you saw on stage was the guy that you got. He was the same person. He was genuine. And that, to me, besides the immense talent, is his enduring quality.